Hey guys, in this video we look at Ansible modules. In Ansible, modules are reusable standalone scripts used in playbooks or on the command line to execute specific tasks. They take parameters and execute tasks on managed nodes, whether the node is remote or local. Now, there are various categories of modules in Ansible. We have package management modules, service management modules, command modules, user management, file management, firewall management, and database management. So for package management, we have apt for Debian systems, we have DNF for Red Hat systems, we have YAM for older Red Hat systems, and Zyper for OpenSUSE. So for service management, we have the service module. Now this is a module that ensures that a service is either running or stopped. All right. Now we also have command modules. Now these are modules that execute specific commands or scripts on target nodes. So we have the shell module, we have command module, we have script, row, and expect. So for user management, we have the user module. So this is a module that adds or removes users. All right. For file management, we have quite a number of modules. So we have the copy module for copying a file from one place to another. We have the line in file module that is used to modify a line inside a file. We have the archive module, which archives a file. We have the unarchive module. We have the template module, start, find, and replace. So for firewall management, we have two main modules. We have the firewall D and the UFW. And finally, we have the database management module. So this category comprises of the MongoDB module. We have the MySQL, we have PostgreSQL, and MSSS SQL. So these are just a few examples or a few categories of Ansible modules. So with that being said, we're going to look at some of the few Ansible modules and see how they're used inside an Ansible playbook. So here we have a sample playbook file that creates new users on a remote node. So here we can see we have two tasks. So both tasks create new users. So the first task creates a new user called Mike. Okay. So here you can see we have invoked the user module. Now this module can take a number of parameters. So the name parameter specifies the name of the user to be created, in this case Mike. Then we have the state parameter, which specifies that, or rather creates the user. So it takes the argument present. So this parameter ensures that the user Mike is created. Then we have the UID, which is the user ID of the user. So here we have specified 1001. Okay, although not mandatory, we have just decided to create the UID for this case. All right, you can just leave it out and the system will automatically assign a UID for the new user. All right, so for the second task, we have, or rather we are creating a new user called Sandra. So once again, we invoke the user module here and we specify the name of the user, which is Sandra. And we declare that the user is created or is present using the state parameter. And lastly, we invoke the UID parameter and we specify the UID, which in this case is 1002. Now let's go over to our control node and create this playbook and run it to see the outcome. So here we are back on our Ansible control node. Now we're going to straight away create the playbook for creating two users on the remote node. So here I'm going to call the playbook create new users. And it's a YAML file. So the extension is .yaml. All right. So I'm going to begin the playbook with 3 hyphens. to start the YAML file. Then I'll specify the hosts on which the playbook will run against. So here we have server 2. Now this is a Rocky Linux system. Okay. Next, I'll specify the tasks to be executed on the remote host. So here, the first task is to create a new user called Mike. So here we have create a new user called Mike. So here I'm going to invoke the user module. So here we have name as the first parameter. So this takes the name of the user, which is Mike. All right, then we have state, which takes the argument present. So this ensures that the user is created on the remote node. Next, we're going to specify the UID, which in this case is 1001. And as we have previously mentioned, this is an optional parameter because the system automatically creates or assigns a new UID to the user upon creation. All right. Okay, so the second task is to create another user called Sandra. So here we have create a new user called Sandra. Oops. Sandra, like that. Okay. So once again, I'll invoke the user module. So once again, we're going to have the name parameter. So this is Sandra. So once again, we have state present. So that ensures the user called Sandra is created and exists on the system. And then finally, we'll specify the UID, which is 1002. All right, so that's just a simple playbook file that creates two users on the remote node. So we're going to save this and exit. All right, then you're going to validate the syntax and check whether it's correct. And to do so, on your terminal, run the command Ansible playbook, then the name of the playbook file. So this is create new users, and then you pass the parameter syntax check like that. Great, we have no errors. So this means our playbook is correct and sound. So the next step is to execute this playbook. So to do so, run the command Ansible playbook, then the name of the playbook file, create new users. So I'll hit enter, and as you can see, the playbook is running. So it's creating a new user called Mike, and it has created a new user called Sandra. So as you can see here in the play recap, you can see there are two changes. Okay, so this confirms that these two new users have been created. All right, and to confirm this, you are going to log into the remote node and confirm that the new users are present. And to do so, I'm going to simply SSH to the remote node. So our IP is 173.82.206.16.16 like that. Okay, so here I'm going to run the command cat etc password. So the user's information is stored in the etc password file. Then I'm going to search using the grep parameter. I'm going to search for Mike. So as you can see, Mike is created with a UID of 1001 and group ID of 1001. All right. Let's also check for Sandra. So here I'm also going to pass Sandra. And again, you can see Sandra has been created with a UID of 1 and a group ID of 1002. Okay, so that confirms that our users have been created. All right, so we're going to exit from our remote node, and we are back again at our Ansible control node. All right, now let's see another example. Now in this example, we're going to take a look at 3 other different modules. So we're going to have the package management module. So in this case, we have DNF. Then we have the service module, which is service. And then finally, we'll take a look at the firewall D module, which will manage the firewall. All right. So this playbook has 5 different tasks. So as you can see, the first task is to install the Apache web server. So in order to do that, we are going to invoke the DNF package management module. So this is going to take 2 parameters. We have name, which specifies the package to be installed, and the state. So this ensures that Apache is installed. Now, as you all know, when you install Apache on a Red Hat system, Apache by default is disabled. So again, we're going to have another task which ensures that Apache is started. So once again, we'll have the service module, then the name of the package or the service, which is HTTPD, and then the state. So this ensures that the Apache service is started. All right. So the third task ensures that Apache runs even on a system reboot. So this basically enables Apache to run even when a system is restarted. So once again, we're going to have the service module here, then the name of the service, which is HTTPD, and then we're going to invoke another parameter called enabled and set this to yes. That aside, we're going to allow HTTP traffic on the firewall. So to do so, we're going to have the firewall D invoked. So we're going to invoke the firewall D module here. Then you're going to specify the port on which to open. So this is port 80 on which HTTP service runs. Then you're going to specify the zone parameter, which specifies the zone that this service will be run on. So this is the public zone. Then we specify another parameter, permanent, which ensures that these changes persist even on a system reboot. Then finally, we have the state, which enables the service. All right. Then finally, we are going to reload the firewall to effect the changes. So finally, we're going to have the service module here, which is going to reload the firewall. All right. So now let's get back to our Ansible control node and write this playbook. So here we are back again at our Ansible control node. Now let's create a playbook file for installing Apache on the remote node. So here I'm going to call it install Apache web server .yaml. Okay. So here we have the hosts, the remote host. So here once again we have server 2. Okay. Now for the tasks, as we saw earlier, we're going to have 5 tasks. Okay. Starting with installing Apache. So here the first task is to install the latest version of Apache. So I'm going to write install the latest version of Apache. Okay. Now here I'll specify the DNF package management module because we are dealing with a Red Hat. We are dealing with a Red Hat system. So I'm going to specify the parameter or the name of the package to be installed, which is HTTPD. Okay. And the state, and the state. So here it takes the argument installed. So this ensures that the Apache web server is installed. All right. Moving forward to our second task. So the second task ensures that Apache is started. So I'm going to call it ensure Apache is running or started. Okay. So here I'm going to invoke the service module. All right. And here we're going to specify the service. So here once again we have HTTPD service, and then we're going to have state. So here we're going, it's going to take the argument started. So after installing Apache, this ensures that Apache is started. All right. Okay. Moving on to our third task. So our third task is to enable Apache so that it starts automatically upon a system reboot. So here we're going to call it enable Apache service on a system reboot. Okay, once again, I'll invoke the service module. Okay, so here we have the name of the service, so HTTPD, and to ensure that the service is enabled, we are going to invoke the enabled parameter and set it to yes. Okay, then we have the other task for allowing the HTTP service on the firewall. So allow HTTP service on the firewall. And to do so, we are going to invoke the firewall-d module. Okay. So to allow the HTTP service, we are going to open port 80 on the firewall. So we are going to invoke the port parameter. So we specify port 80, which is a TCP port. Then we'll specify the zone. So here we have the public zone. Okay. And then we're going to specify the permanent parameter. So this ensures the changes remain on the firewall. Okay, and then finally we have the state. So here we have enabled. So this ensures that this firewall rule will persist even upon a system reboot. Okay, then finally we're going to restart the firewall to ensure that the changes are effected. All right, so here we have restart the firewall. Okay, so we're going to invoke service, the service module. All right, and here we have the name of the service, which is firewall-d. Firewall-d. Okay, and we're going to specify the state. So to ensure that the firewall is restarted, we are going to give it the argument restarted. Okay, so this was a lengthy playbook. Okay, so here we have 5 tasks. So the first task installs the Apache service. The second task ensures that Apache is running. The third task enables Apache. The fourth task opens port 80 on the firewall, and finally the last task restarts the firewall or reloads the firewall to effect the changes. So once again, I'm going to save the changes. Okay, and then I'm going to validate the syntax. So I'll run Ansible playbook, install Apache, then double hyphen syntax, check. Okay, our syntax is sound. All right, so now let's run the playbook. So we're going to have Ansible playbook, then the name of the playbook. So install Apache web server, then I'll hit enter. Okay, the playbook is running. So this will take quite a while because of the number of tasks involved. So we can, as you can see, the first task has been executed, the second task. Okay. All right. Now it's restarting the firewall, and there we go. So the playbook has successfully executed all the 5 tasks. Okay, and just to confirm that Apache is running, we're going to SSH to our remote system. So once again, I'm going to run SSH root at 173.82.206.16. Okay, so let's check the running status of Apache. So to do so, we run the command systemctl status httpd. So as you can see, Apache is up and running. Okay, so we can also confirm from the browser that we can view the Apache test page. So I'm going to my browser here, and I'm going to type the IP address, which is 173.82.206.16. And as you can see, we are able to view the Apache test page, and this confirms that Apache is installed and running. So now let's exit from our remote node. All right, so we are now back at our Ansible control node. Okay, so this was a tutorial about how you can use Ansible module to execute specific tasks on the remote node, and we have seen how you can run a few tasks such as creating new users, installing software packages, managing the service, the services of managing the state of the running services, managing the firewall. And those are just a few examples. So yeah, so that was just a video on how you can use Ansible modules to execute some certain tasks on remote node. So if you found this video helpful, please leave a like, share it with your friends, and also subscribe. This goes a long way in helping me make more videos. So leave a comment on what you think and which other modules I can cover in future tutorials, and we'll take it from there. So once again, thank you for your time, and see you in the next video.